This is Lama Tantrapa, and I want to thank you for your interest in the secrets of Qigong Masters. You are at the right place if you want to learn from some of the best experts in our field how to tap into the energy resources that will help you achieve greater vitality, personal power, improve the quality of your life, and experience self-realization. I encourage you to dive deeper into these teachings by exploring the additional resources provided by this and other amazing guests of our show. Please visit qigongmasters.com, where you'll find a treasure trove of information and materials dedicated to empowering you to live your dreams. Today, I'm delighted to introduce to you Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. Thank you so much.
Aloha.
Aloha. As long as her daughter, Ella, and her assistant, associate, Renita White. And to start our discussion today, I would like to ask you the most obvious question. You're known for creating or inventing perhaps this technology that enhances people's energy.
Yeah.
And would you share with us a little bit about how you invented this idea of enhancing people's energy?
That's a long time discussion process, but I actually built my first scalar healing light chamber in 1978 in my spa. And so it was an evolvement from our healing work and our healing practice, and the energy practice as a kahuna, and all the healing work over, it's been 45 years now. But we actually had our first clinicals with the EE system in 2001, and that was with a medical doctor and 130 patients documenting what happens with the body when the body has the right energy. It wants to heal everything. Everything with the body. When the body has the right energy, it wants to function more perfectly, which is what you're trying to do with a Qigong practice. This was putting it into technology.
The benefit that people want to get out of practicing Qigong, except they can do it without actually practicing Qigong. Wow, what a concept.
Qi technology. And it's literally raising that millivoltage in the cells, that light force or life force energy, and increasing the cell membrane potential. It's because of something called biophotons, which we had Dr. Beverly Rubik talking about, the biophotons, that's the light emitted. And the prime function of DNA is the storage of photons. So the DNA is very biophotonic, and the whole system of the body is a scalar system. So this is just enhancing the body's natural energy, or life force energy. It's like a true anti-aging technology, but it's the same as practicing Qigong, except being in an EE system was very quantifiable science.
When you say being in the system, it means that you are in a room where that system's set up and induces this electromagnetic frequencies.
Yeah, a hyper-healthy, energetic environment. It's kind of like what it would feel like if you were in a circle of probably 150, 200 Qigong masters all sending energy at once.
Wow. That probably would be quite a blast. Well, actually, I experienced it firsthand because I participated in your grand opening in Las Vegas and enjoyed it. Experienced it on my own skin, as it were.
And practicing Qigong in the middle of it, we've had a lot of teachers because people can feel the energy so easily when you're practicing, you do your Qigong practice within the hyper-healthy energetic environment or the fields of that. So.
Right. So, for example, people who are more attuned to feeling subtle energy currents, they may feel difference between being, for example, in the middle of a large city as opposed to going into a beautiful countryside, or perhaps even going to a so-called energy vortex, such as maybe Mount Shasta or Sedona, Arizona.
This is more like a vortex.
It's artificially created vortex.
Yeah, it is a full scalar vortex, which is what you have at sacred sites, something comparable to that, although this is creating a hyper-healthy, ideal, optimal, energetic environment. And a lot of what I was talking about at the Congress was the radiation issues and how this can collapse the detrimental field effects of the EMF, the ELF, what you have in cities and around technologies, the EMF, ELF, radiation, microwave, all that electrosmog, where people are becoming much more electrosensitive. And even just 60 cycle fields stress the body so much that it breaks down immune function. And that breakdown of immune function leads to cancer and things like that. Of course, radiation is known to unzip the DNA, and that's ionizing radiation, for example, from Fukushima, unzips the DNA. It breaks the covalent hydrogen bonds of the DNA. But also you have your cell phones as a non-ionizing radiation.
Right.
And that's like an accelerated aging process.
It's just like putting a head in a microwave
Yes.
and turning it on full blast.
And it creates literally accelerated aging, degenerative process in the body. So we want to give the body the ideal optimal energy to repair, rejuvenate, regenerate, and to function more and more optimally. It's in the body rearranges. It's called dynamic homeostasis. It's continually taking the energy and reorganizing to higher and higher levels of function where the body is more coherent.
Right.
You have in Qigong also alignment and coherence, but literally at a cellular level.
Beautiful. And of course, there's also this paradox. We're trying to counteract the effects of technology by using more technology.
And it's pure science.
Well, yes. Obviously, we are swimming in this field of energy vibrations. Anything from cell phones to Wi-Fi to Bluetooth to radio
Smart
towers.
meters.
What kind of meters?
Smart meters?
Smart meters.
Smart meters,
also
known as murder meters, but they continually emit radiation in people's homes, and people are having extreme detrimental effect from those murder meters or smart meters that are put on for monitoring the power, and they can
The
monitor.
electrical company used to be analog, and then they've switched it to these different kinds of meters.
And people are getting first sleep disturbances, headaches, leukemias, different brain tumors and things like that from these technologies. Because the body, life is energy, and the body is like electrical circuitry. And so it's dysregulating and discombobulating, putting people in continual stress, which produces that whole cascade of all the stress hormones. And health goes into degeneration, like cancer, diabetes is a degenerative process. We want to create regeneration.
For sure. And regeneration can be achieved by also exposing yourself to fewer of these harmful influences of this modern technology that's supposed to make our lives healthier and happier, except it does it somehow differently. About 10 years ago, I was interviewing Dr. Yang Zhuangming, who's one of the well-known Qigong masters in the United States, originally from Taiwan. He is an electrical engineer by trade, or by education at least, and he mentioned to me that he was really looking into doing research on influence of the energy fields emitted by various types of technologies on the human body. And from what you said, it sounds like you've already been doing this kind of research. Perhaps I should connect the two of you so you can see how maybe we can collaborate.
There's a lot of research on the detrimental field effects. But this is a whole other side of what happens when you have an ideal energetic environment where these phase conjugate wave pairs, we could discuss the physics, the biophysics, this release of charge that raises the cell membrane potential, the cellular millivoltage, literally charging up the cells, so everything acts like it has more life force, more chi, more of that light force.
Vibrancy.
Yeah.
And
we talk about from radiation to radiance.
I like that. And I would imagine that there is some kind of baseline for humans in terms of the correct frequency, or do we as individuals have different energy needs?
we all are individual and all different, and that's why I don't work so much with isolated frequency technologies, because that's still third dimensional, and our systems, our biology is more in the scalar, the alternative fields, because it's spanning a full spectrum, and we're not meant to be entrained to just any specific frequencies, or it creates imbalances and dis-ease because of breakdown of natural functions.
Right. And I imagine that you're not only doing this work in Las Vegas, Nevada, but also in other places. Would you share with our listeners a little bit about your nationwide or perhaps international projects or events?
Yeah, we have. Well, of course, we were just here for the World Qigong Congress, which was great. We had Professor Dr. Terry Shintani, Chair of Complementary Alternative Medicine, University of Hawaii Med School. Of course, he's had the technology for nearly 8 years already in Hawaii with med school. We have peer-reviewed published studies on reversal of seizure disorder with autism. Lots of results with autism. One of his cases also is a full reversal of mesothelioma, the lung cancer from asbestos. And these are like medically impossible. The peer-reviewed study was actually published in the Journal of Neurology Research, and the little girl was having 8 to 10 grand mal seizures every day. They had tried everything, both allopathically, but also alternative. They'd done chelation. They bought their own hyperbaric chamber oxygen therapy. They changed diets. They'd done everything. She was having 8 to 10 grand mal seizures and 6 to 10 petit mal seizures every single day. Well, the little girl had her first seizure-free day ever after the third 1-hour session in the EE system at the University of Hawaii Med School. And so that was a published study.
And did it stick? Did it
Yes.
actually have a prolonged effect?
And then for a full list of public locations where you can experience it, you can go to our website, EE System, EnergyEnhancementSystem.com, and under locations.
EEsystem.com, because it is literally all over the world. And of course, you were just there for the opening of the Optima Medical Institute in Las Vegas, where we're working with MDs and PhDs, and we will be working with a study, 50-patient study for diabetes in conjunction with the Alliance Against Diabetes. But that was a 12-unit system you experienced. We had a great opening. That was just in June.
In June? Yes. And that's where we met as well. Would you share with us a little bit about your experience with the EE system and how did you guys connect?
Well, we connected through a mutual friend about last year sometime, early last year. And then I just recently got the system installed, and it's been fantastic. So I started having lucid dreams, which is quite interesting because I never remembered any of my dreams. And now I'm not only remembering them, I'm like, it's coming back to me as I'm throughout my day. I can still remember that dream throughout my day.
And you're not only remembering dreams, you said that you had lucid dreams. So
Yes.
you awaken in the dream as the dream is unfolding.
Yes.
Well, that's what I've been teaching and practicing for many, many years, called the art of dream yoga. Now you are doing this just after a month of having this system blasting you with a little bit of flickering light.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I also feel it working on my left and right brain.
On both of them.
It's a different type of feeling where I don't want to wake up. And if I wake up, I'm lightheaded and I'm like, can't get I have vertigo, but I don't have vertigo. It's just, I was awakened abruptly in the middle of the
cycle
of the
Lucid dreaming.
right, and it just
Suddenly you're back in the physical body.
yeah, right, and I have to deal with it.
What am I doing here?
I'm like,
Can I go back to
So I've been having some quite interesting experiences. I'm loving it.
Yeah, and it is a good thing. You experience it
Yes.
at a center with the technology, like Dr.
Right.
Shintani also has, and we have a number of centers. Like I leave from here to go to the Lexington Center for Integrative Health in Lexington, Kentucky. But most of our systems are in private homes around the bed, such as what Sandra is, and it's like sleeping in heaven.
It is.
Your friend with insomnia was asleep and
Oh,
snoring
she
in like
was.
2 minutes.
Yes.
Or less.
Or less. She definitely has insomnia.
Wow.
And she sleeps in there. She doesn't snore. She was a big snorer. She doesn't snore. She sleeps very silently.
Well, I think the first time I experienced this kind of system, I think it was Dr. Eva Chow's house.
Yeah.
So she has one as well. And it has been installed there for quite a while.
And we've had it set up here at the Qigong Congress before too,
Oh.
for people to sample. So maybe you've had a chance
Probably.
during the. Not that it's very relaxing, but it's everything going on.
And I imagine that it's not something portable, so it takes some time to install it and set it up properly.
They are all custom built and installed per location. So it is possible to move them, but it's
We move them for people all the time, but it is a major installation. It's custom built, but it's also a custom install. Like at your place, you had the team, and you saw it's very, very precise. Set up
very
with
precise.
lasers to within 100th of an inch tolerance to create this standing columnar wave. You know, we could talk about alignment.
Where the waves intersect
At the
in the middle.
intersection of the fields, and then that creates that 360-degree sphere that goes out, and it creates a nullification of detrimental fields for about 2 miles every direction. But then you have the biophotonic and photonic fusion occurring in the system, and that creates the hyper-healthy energies within the room that the technology is installed. And that could be around the bed. It creates an environment. But we could also, some of our systems have like 36 chairs or a dozen or 15 chairs, things like that. So many people can be experiencing it at once.
Well, let me ask you this. Does this have the same kind of positive effect not only on humans but also on other living organisms?
Animals are much easier than humans.
Let's say spiders.
there's a vet in Florida who has it just for animals.
Yeah, also Dr. Shintani was just here talking about, he has a system at the University of Hawaii Med School, couldn't get enough people in there, that was so booked out. So he opened a big new center in Chinatown area.
No,
It's actually in Honolulu, a large center at Kukui Plaza.
I know
And
Kukui
so-
Plaza very well.
And that's like booked up, so he's looking to open another center, but he also bought 4 units for at home and for his wife, but he was also talking about for their 2 dogs. The dogs were, let's say 12. Yeah,
One was
the-
12 at the time.
Yeah, the 2 dogs, one was 12 years old and limping, serious limp because of the arthritic joints and hip dysplasia, etc.
Probably was eating too much chicken.
I don't know what they feed them. He's vegetarian, but I don't know if his dogs are or not, maybe.
I'm
sure they are.
Peace diet.
But yeah, so he's had that system at home. His wife is ecstatic about it. She goes, I love my system. But the dog is now 14 years old and acts like a puppy. So jumping up and down like a puppy. I mean, the limping went away
Age
very, very
regression.
quickly. And we hear that a lot. And people, the portable version is the medallions. A lot of people put the medallions on their pets' beds and things like
They
that.
also started acting as puppies.
And yeah, we hear that a lot, the dogs, because they just get it. They're not trying to figure it all out.
Wow. So, before you mentioned that you were practicing huna, or you mentioned, made reference of yourself as a kahuna, so that may give us a little bit of an insight into your connection with the Native Hawaiian tradition of healing. Is there any parallel or correlation between the E system and how it works on one hand and the huna on the other hand?
Absolutely. I mean, really, when you look at Huna, it means the secrets or mysteries of life.
Mm.
And I've been recognized as a kahuna for more than 30 years. But I designed the technology basically to emulate that hands-on healing energy and to generate those billions of bits of light codes and things like that, and how energy moves through the body. And it's very specific, and the spinal column is really a standing column of light to be functioning optimally, because we are bodies of light.
Yeah, it works basically like an optic conduit.
And we create superconductivity with the scalar. We have superluminal velocity. So it's pure science.
Superluminal velocity, so
Yeah.
exceeding the speed of light.
A scalar moves at 1.4 times the speed of light. And that's why we get such almost instantaneous healings sometimes.
Doesn't it kind of violate the laws of physics?
Well, it's quantum physics.
Okay. Well, I'm not an expert in quantum physics, I have to admit, but it sounds interesting. What I would be curious about is, does this exposure of the EE system relieve us of the need to practice energy healing or Qigong or other modalities? We can just rely on this technology alone?
I still wouldn't say that, because, the technology is miraculous. And we want to create those quantum leaps of consciousness, for example, going into the lucid dreaming. And it wakes up people's healing powers. It's literally activating the light. This is the pure science, activating the light at the core of the DNA. So it's like cellular enlightenment that occurs. It's an enlightenment experience, an expansion of consciousness, besides giving the body the energy to heal itself. But it's activating the healing powers. So people get turned on as healers. And somebody that has some training and is practicing, we need every healer brought to the highest potential of what they could be and should be doing. Because we have a lot to heal and turn around on this planet. We're at a critical time.
Yeah, so what I'm curious about, first of all, is as Qigong practitioners, and I imagine that most of our viewers and listeners practice Qigong or related disciplines, do we need to continue practicing if we have this EE system installed in our houses?
Absolutely. It's not about being dependent on a technology.
Wonderful.
We are the ultimate technology. We are to embody that light. And it's the radiance of our light is the only thing that's really going to carry us through these times, because the radiation issues are becoming so, at criticality, extinction level on the planet. We need to activate that light within us and that, and create that quantum leap of consciousness and shift. And it is about still practicing how to move energy and walk the planet as the fully realized God, goddess beings in perfect balance with full access to all of our wisdom through the ancestors. That's what's carried in the DNA, the ancestral knowledge, the Huna, the secrets of life that's passed through the, let's call forth all the wisdom of all that's gone before us. And how do we embody that and walk the planet as these fully realized beings in perfect balance? One of the things you talked about, feeling it between your right and left brain, we find that the technology balances and synchronizes right and left brain. Well, that is the first step in meditation, really, for optimal meditation. And we've done a lot of research, brain research, on optimal meditational states. And right-left brain synchronization is the first piece. That's what you have in that standing calm, or that place of balance. In the mystery schools, that's called the alchemical sacred marriage, that union of God, goddess within, that point of balance. Or in Hawaiian, it's called Pono, 0 point, is another scientific term. But we found that people could go into a deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in the first 7 minutes. And we've proven that scientifically, we've validated that. And so everybody can learn to meditate without having to study, but imagine with some training what we can do on this planet.
Right, so it can serve as a catalyst for all the other things that we do in terms of our personal development, healing, or improvement of quality of life.
And how do we be the master healers, like Dr. Effie Chow was talking about? How do we bring healing to the world?
Mm.
You know, we have a whole new reality to create, and we want to go into super beingness. So we need the teachers like you and the Qigong trainings and things, so that everybody can fulfill their highest potentials of what they can be doing, not just healing themselves, but how do we bring healing to the masses, to the world, and create heaven on earth.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like a really worthwhile endeavor.
One thing I did realize is that you are in a deep, deep sleep. It's hard to wake up. It has you really in a deep, deep sleep.
It's what we talk about, the delta and theta states.
The
It's
healing.
getting
The
to
healing.
those deep delta and
Yes.
theta. And most people never get there
Get there.
because you're bombarded 24/7 with the EMF, ELF, the microwaves, the cell phones, all that stuff. So the body stays in reacting to these fields versus being able to go into the deep regenerative states where everything can repair, rejuvenate, regenerate. Now, once your body catches up, you've got a fairly new system, you know. But it's those states where everything internalizes the energy, like the internal chi, you know, and it's repairing, rejuvenating, regenerating all the organs from the inside out. So your body doesn't want to be bothered. It's like, I am busy, I am working on stuff, and your spirit is out there in the lucid dream.
Right.
Astral journeys.
That's exactly what's happening.
And it's exploring new worlds.
Discovering new possibilities.
Ideal, optimal brain states
Yes.
for super consciousness, super being. But the body is literally taking the energy. It gets excited and it goes, oh, I'm busy over here.
Right.
I'm going to heal myself now.
Yeah, repair, rejuvenate, regenerate from the inside out.
Well, that's how healing works. Usually not from outside in.
Right.
Even if we do all kinds of therapeutic interventions, what really matters is how much the person heals from within.
Absolutely.
Now, on this note, I would like to look into any counterindications, if there are any. Are there any prescriptions or counterindications or perhaps side effects?
Healthy for life. Side effects, why a lot of people put it around the bed, is enhanced peak performance.
Peak performance in bed.
Well, not just in bed, but in life.
Right.
Yes, we have one person who is in her 50s, and Dr. Ian Adams in Maui was supposed to have what she was scheduled for open heart surgery. She was having a tachycardia where her beats per minute were going over 300 beats per minute. They would stop her heart and restart it, and she was scheduled for open heart surgery. I said, well, before you do the open heart surgery, why don't you get over to Dr. Shintani's on Oahu? And so she flew from Maui into Honolulu, used the system that all balanced out. Before that, she was having some really good results too with the medallions, because people really feel that on their hearts. And anyway, so she got tired of flying back and forth. She got her own system installed, started sleeping in it, 8 units in her home in Maui. And a week later, she calls me up. She says, I have so much energy. I'm waking up before my job. I am on the track running at 4:30 in the morning.
Can't help myself.
I am running. And then she called me up and said, well, the top trainer is the track trainer was there and goes, do you know how fast you were running? She ran 200 meters in 22 seconds.
So she's going to be an Olympian.
That is Olympic level.
Yes.
And she just started running. She's in her 50s.
Wow.
So now she's training for Senior Olympics, I think. But 22 seconds. And when we were there, we clocked her. And I clocked her running 100 meters in 10 seconds. And I'm going,
That's really serious.
well, she was supposed to be having open heart surgery.
Wow.
But peak performance, because
She's
The
calling her surgeon,
synapses.
sorry, I can't make it to the surgery room because I'm running at the limbic level here. Excuse me, sorry.
Literally, he was calling, going, "You're supposed to be in here. Well, you must have neuropathies." And she goes, "I don't think so. I just ran 200 meters in 20 seconds." I don't think so. And so, that peak performance, because the synapses, neurotransmitters, everything is firing. It's oxygenating. You've got the ultimate fuel for the cells is the active hydrogen. That's your ultimate antioxidant. The mitochondrial activity is quadrupled in using the technology. So everything is, firing, and so the reaction times and, everything is so optimized.
Fascinating. Well, on at this point in our interview, I would like to ask you a little bit about other activities or projects that you do. I know that you've been involved in quite a few different projects worldwide, the Republic of New Lemuria and all kinds of other things. How is that coming along?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work trying to create a new nation based on peace and healing in this world. That's been about 15 years of work. That's the involvement. Our most exciting projects right now, we were talking about radiation. The radiation levels on the planet are at criticality. It's what's called extinction level event. The radiation that was released from Fukushima, there's been 300 tons of radioactive waste being released every single day since March 11th, 2011. And so parts of the ocean are boiling. They figured 90% of the ocean is dead. The radiation levels are at acute levels. As of beginning of August, 44 cities in the U.S. had radiation levels over 1,000 counts per minute.
That's mostly on the West Coast, I imagine.
Across the country, because every power station is also, every power plant is also leaking. But
You mean the nuclear power plant?
Yeah, the nuclear power plants. Of course, the Pacific Northwest and the California coast, there's all these examples of, and Hawaii, but all these examples of sharks with tumors and the salmon being cut open. There's so much of the fish, the ahi or the tuna, 100% of the tuna caught off of San Diego, 100% had radiation. Whales washing up on shores or beaching and dying, but they're radioactive. The carcasses are radioactive.
Especially for a big animal like that who lives in the ocean for years and years, that radioactivity accumulates.
And so we're seeing just such an increase in thyroid cancer and
in whales?
No, in humans now. And now we're talking
It's been 5.5 years already.
Right.
And the increase in thyroid cancer, diabetes, the cancer rates are skyrocketing, especially for like us frequent flyers, because and pilots, flight attendants, because we have something called a Wigner effect occurring because the radiation, the plumes from Fukushima are kind of, a lot of it is traveling or held at that 35,000 feet. And so you've got 100 times now the radiation levels that you used to have on planes. You have the cosmic radiation.
Well, yeah, of course, you're also flying further away from the surface of planet Earth, so you're
That's
exposed
the
to
cosmic,
more,
what's called the cosmic radiation. And there is no safe radiation for these carbon-based human bodies. The radiation is cumulative, and that unzipping. So we're seeing much accelerated rates of cancer with the frequent flyers, with the pilots, with the flight attendants because of the radiation exposures. And so
better travel by train.
better, yes, much better. Although there was, in the first 10 weeks after Fukushima happened, there was a 48% increase in infant mortality in Philadelphia because of the radioactive iodine-131 and the other radioactive isotopes. But they actually tested the radioactive iodine was the highest in the tap water in Philadelphia of some of the cities that reported.
That's bizarre. It's kind of on the other side of the globe.
Yeah, from
pockets and eddies.
People think it's in Japan, but the radioactive plumes, and it doesn't occur in nature. The plutonium and the cesium things are only
Iodine.
Yeah, the radioactive iodine. And so we are seeing symptoms of radiation poisoning. A lot of people getting nosebleeds, that's one of the symptoms, or rashes, or the thyroid function things. And doctors aren't trained in looking at radiation poisoning. Instead, they're giving steroids for the rashes, or try to figure out blood
Suppress
pressure.
the symptoms.
Suppress the symptoms, treat the symptoms versus really looking at what we're really dealing with. And the infant mortality rates in the U.S. are very, very high. So we have a project now for addressing the radiation issues. One of the specifics that we're working with is the depleted uranium that was used in Iraq and Afghanistan. So the depleted uranium issues with our veterans is another extreme level. And so we have cancers from that in the veterans. And so we have a project, we're incorporating the radiation remediation centers. We've linked that now with Vet USA and Veterans Healthcare USA to be starting these centers for addressing the vets, like the general that you met. That's
Right.
when you were there for the grand opening.
Talking about the colonel.
Yeah, Marine. Oh, you met a Marine colonel,
Yeah.
but you also met the 78-year-old Frank Montgomery, who was
Oh, okay. He's a general.
Yeah, we
Goodness.
call him the general, but yeah. But he's a legendary Marine, and you saw the reversal that he had from all the exposures, but he'd had 3 strokes. And
Well, he was looking quite youthful.
yeah,
But his mind, there's nothing wrong with it.
he's very
Oh,
sharp.
it's kind of hard to be wrong with being youthful.
Yeah. Well, when he was carried in initially to into the system, he had no bowel or bladder control. He was literally carried in, 3rd-degree burns over his entire body. 3 strokes, and 10 days later he's standing, and now he walks with a cane. They told him he'd never ever walk again. They told him he'd never have a grip in his left hand while he's gripping, and so yeah, this shift there.
And the colonel who has such health level that at 60-some years of age, he is still in active duty and flies airplanes.
Yes, you met him too.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, and I was talking about the other Marine colonel that reverses stage 4 bladder cancer, lifetime cancer survivor, but absolute reversal of all the lesions that were connected to some of the depleted uranium exposures, hot particles.
You have finished another episode of the talk show, The Secrets of Qigong Masters, that brings to you some of the top experts in Qigong, meditation, healing, and martial arts. Now I invite you to visit QigongMasters.com and dive deeper into the teachings of our amazing guests by downloading their multimedia products and becoming a member of our international community of like-minded people. This show is also brought to you by Academy of Qidao, offering Qigong coaching programs that integrate the ancient energy arts with the modern methodology of coaching. If you struggle with chronic pain, suffer from too much stress, want to boost your performance, or seek spiritual awakening, please go to QigongCoaching.com. There, you can receive top-notch coaching as well as professional training to become a certified Qigong coach yourself. That's right, if you're dreaming of making a decent living, doing what you love, and making a difference in the lives of many people worldwide, check out our programs that will help you transform your interest in energy arts into living your life in the flow.